Hello everyone, welcome back to Fraud on the Telly. We recently just had the first Thursday of 2023, so you already know what time it is, Critical Role time. That's right, in today's video we once again will be reacting to and breaking down all of the crazy events that happened from last night's episode of Critical Role Campaign 3, episode 44. An episode where once again we got some massive reveals for the upcoming plot surrounding Ruidus and the Apogee Solstice, and one Cerberus Assembly member, Ludinus Da'lath. As well, this might have been the horniest episode in Critical Role history. As always, if you enjoyed the video, guys, make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe. Don't forget to check out some of our other Critical Role content, like our most recent video where we detailed the long-term storytelling of Critical Role in Matt Mercer across all of the campaigns, and just how absolutely amazing it is. Let's get right into the video, shall we? So where we last left off with our gang of misfits, they had just spoken with Plane Rider Rin in the Plane of Fire in her sanctum, getting some crazy lore drop about the entity within the moon, an entity known as Predathos, an entity that apparently has been chasing the gods of Exandria. If we remember back to our Critical Role lore knowledge, the gods of Exandria came to Exandria long before the founding, from some unknown place, I guess, in the universe, across the cosmos. From here, they worked with the primordials, creating life, making Exandria what it is today. Apparently, though, there was a great predator known as Predathos that has been hunting these gods and was long ago sealed by the gods and the primordials within a continent, one would presume, of Exandria, and then cast off into space. However, though, this prison would stay within the atmosphere of Exandria, now being the moon of Ruidus. The group had been bamped back to the house in Eos down in the basement, where they had teleported to the Plane of Fire, when they hear strange voices coming from above, apparently investigating this house in which they are now trapped. Here is when Critical Role fashion, if we know anything about this cast, planning is not their strong suit, and this is when everything just goes to shit. Well, they didn't really come up with some very good plans, one being fight, two being pretend to have an orgy. And well, yeah, you can imagine which one they decided to go with. To be fair, has anyone truly ever really experienced D&D to its fullest if you haven't had to roleplay a fake sex scene in order to avoid being either arrested by some guards or interrogated by some baddies? I feel like this is almost like a D&D rite of passage as much. And to be fair, it was absolutely hilarious because this was easily some of the most horniest moments from Critical Role history, and some of the most wildest lines I've seen from any of these members of the cast. Lines that are going to be memed probably for the rest of the show's history. This plan, unfortunately, though, doesn't succeed really at all, as it seems that these people who are investigating the home who see right through it as well. There is a air elemental that has entered into the basement, and just chaos is about to ensue. Eventually, through an absolute clusterfuck, our party managed to escape from the home, taking an unconscious member of this group with them. After interrogating the man, they learned that he belongs to a group known as the Ruby Vanguard. To him, a group that wants to ensure the future of Exandria, ensure that Exandrians can finally live free lives. You see, to them, they believe that the gods have chained the free will of mortals, and that their existence prevents mortals from ever living an absolute free life. This is when things start to get very interesting. We've already mentioned that Predathos is some kind of predator that is hunting the gods, and obviously the gods of Exandria are terrified of this creature and its powers, as it has, as we said, eaten two previous gods. It has the ability to seemingly destroy divinity. The Ruby Vanguard believe that Predathos is just a natural predator in an ecosystem to where the gods had eliminated any predators, any potential harm that may come to them, and that they, the Ruby Vanguard, are basically just setting things in motion how they're supposed to be in nature, and that once Predathos destroys all of the deities, they will be free, and Predathos will leave to devour other deities, I guess. It's very much there's always a bigger fish type mentality. There will always be a bigger fish. There will always be a rung higher up on the food chain. Every predator is a prey to some other entity or some other aspect in the regards of, I guess, the natural world, except for a few that sit as apex predators. Now, we have to take this character's information with a grain of salt because we're hearing it secondhand, right? And Matt loves to play games. But if he's right, this whole situation of this kind of ecology, this kind of chain of predator and prey in this world of Exandria and the gods is something that I find personally quite fascinating. As well, we learn that the leader of this organization of the Ruby Vanguard is one Ludinus Da'lath. If that name sounds familiar, it's because they're a certain not-so-nice evil baddie from Campaign 2, a member of the Cerberus Assembly, one who wanted to meddle within the Luxem and the Beacons to warp them for their own imaginable selfish gains. And it seems that once again, the Cerberus Assembly and Ludinus Da'lath are trying to act up and claim more power than they have any right to. It's almost as if we're getting a Calamity Part 2. It's almost as if Ludinus Da'lath wants to enact the Age of Arcanum once again. Obviously, it seems that the mages haven't learned their lessons from striving for too much power and just letting their ego ultimately be the thing that gets them destroyed. Apparently, as well, they learned from interrogating this man that Ludinus speaks with Predathos, at least in some kind of form. Once again, this is information that we have secondhand, so we don't know if it's actually true. Matt loves to play fast and loose with a lot of this information, especially when it's come from secondhand sources, so we have to keep all of this with a grain of salt. Apparently, Oda Honthul works with them as well, but she very much is kind of her own rogue wildcard in many aspects, especially in league with the Cerberus Assembly, and I would imagine she probably has her own goals as well. It's interesting because the Ruby Vanguard and much of their beliefs prey on anyone who would necessarily have some kind of a vendetta or hatred towards the faith, any faith of Exandria, as ultimately their goal is to them freedom by removing these gods, these entities. Thus, they can take advantage of many people who have had bad interactions with the faith or with gods or anything of that nature. And to be fair, in Exandria, even in this fantasy world, there's no shortage of these types of situations. It's a very kind of real human story in the midst of this crazy fantasy world filled with gods and creatures from outer space. I find it super, super interesting. And I love what Matt's doing here. We learn that these strange devices, the 3 devices that are key to whatever's going on in the Apogee Solstice, are known as Malice Keys, or something along those lines. The first one was built in the Feywild, but there is tension between the Fey and the Cerberus Assembly. The one in Exandria is not finished yet, and according to this guy, is possibly the most important of the 3 keys, and this guy had no information on the Shadowfell one. Belltells are still debating on which of these keys they should deal with. It seems that they're leaning towards the Feywild, but we don't know exactly what the outcome is going to be as our episode ends, as the cast still need to go get Ashton, as Taliesin has been conspicuously absent from the table over the last couple of weeks. Really, what a tale of two halves for this episode of Critical Role. It was absolutely hilarious, all of the cluster before trying to do the fake orgy scene or whatever was going on. I applaud them for sticking with the bit, for really riding it out, no pun intended. But yeah, that was probably never gonna work, was it? And ultimately, the rest of the kind of combat of the first half of the episode was just a massive clusterfuck. Things are really starting to heat up in Critical Role. It's only about a week and a half until the Apogee Solstice in game time. And so if we imagine that in game, there's going to be anywhere from 1 day to 2 day per episodes, I guess that would mean we have somewhere between 7, 9, 10-ish episodes left until the Apogee Solstice. Could be longer, could be less. We have to remember as well, if the group travel to the Feywild, there's going to be weird time shenanigans that go on here that could very much complicate all of the instances that are going on. There's still so many questions about what the heck is going on here. Still, what is the city on Ruidus? What exactly is Predathos? Does Predathos have worshippers? It seems very much that it does. Are there worshippers of Predathos on the moon? So many questions we just don't know about. What exactly is Predathos? What is up with all of these strange entities from space? Are we going to get more kind of space interplanar entities within Campaign 3? It very much doesn't seem like the Apogee Solstice will be the end of the Ruidus storyline in Campaign 3. If it does, I'm going to say it right now on record, I'll probably be disappointed. Let me know in the comments down below all of your thoughts on all this crazy lore we've received in the last few episodes of Critical Role about Ruidus. Things are finally starting to heat up on Critical Role. We've been waiting so long for this lore drop, all of this knowledge, all of this precious nuggets of information that Matt is slowly feeding to us. And yeah, 2023 is going to be crazy for Critical Role, man. I can't wait to see what happens. And I'm not going to lie to you guys. I kind of hope that this crazy moon entity, devourer of worlds, devourer of gods, gets released. And we get some kind of calamity part 2. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching my video. I hope to see you in the next one. Stay safe out there. Until next time, peace, love, adu.
A love story that might be. We wasn't supposed to happen. So much talk around us. We became numb to the yapping. It was like 05. Got my license to drive. Picked you up in my pop's car. Went for a ride. Couldn't no one tell us nothing. That night was ours. All the stars aligned and you were so damn fine.